The traits of a good marriage partner, 4 things to look for. It goes without saying that you want to wed somebody who will look out for you and be respectful to you, so that brings us to point number 2. How can one make sense of it all? Simple. Spend some time with this individual, and while you're there, take attention to how they interact with people who they don't particularly care about. Since they aren't attempting to charm them. Do they offer their gratitude to the attendant who pumped their gas? Are they polite to customers when they are at the checkout counter? Do they speak ill of those who are unable to meet deadlines, such as telephone operators or servers who are overworked? Do they frequently drive in a hostile manner, as if there were no other vehicles on the road? How to detect wedding guest frauds? Ask yourself similar questions, and make a mental note of the replies. Because your responses to such questions represent qualities that will become apparent later on. The vast majority of people do not protect themselves to the extent that they will conceal how they treat other people. You need to give some thought to the woman as a whole. Therefore, keep an eye on them, and you will have an idea of how they will deal with you after the wedding. 3. Do we have clear and effective communication with one another? Communicating effectively with a partner, a necessary part of a healthy relationship. In other words, be sure that you are communicating effectively with one another. Although it may appear to be self-evident, this is not the case. It's not uncommon to come across a couple engaged in a heated argument that lasts for an hour, 2 hours, or even the whole night. And then, when round 16 was through, it was discovered that the whole affair had been based on a misunderstanding. Oh, I assumed you were referring to that. Is it not what you had in mind? Oh, so you and I think alike. Incompatible couples, when to let go and find love. Even while this can happen to anybody on sometimes, it is not a positive indicator if it is happening on a regular basis, since it suggests that the situation will not alter in the near future. If you and your partner consistently fail to comprehend one another, you should probably consider putting your relationship on wait for a bit. Physical attraction, the key to lasting love. The physical attraction between a couple is one of the most important aspects of marriage. It is impossible to marry someone if you do not have a romantic attraction to them physically. And although males tend to come to this realization very rapidly, women should allow themselves a little bit more time to think about it. After getting to know a man, a woman may find that she is initially not attracted to him, but that she thinks him to be far more appealing than she did before they met. What to look for in a marriage partner, a short guide. A word of caution, despite the fact that a strong physical attraction is necessary, it is not sufficient grounds for starting a marriage. Everything that is occurring on the physical plane is only a manifestation of the enormous changes taking place on the mental, emotional, and spiritual levels. The golden rule is to make sure there is a physical appeal, but you can't let yourself get carried away by it. The other 3 qualities are equally essential, if not more so than those listed above. The conclusion is as follows. Put into practice everything you've learned here the very next time you go out on a date with someone. It will save you a lot of time and pain. And you may discover that you are walking down the aisle sooner than you had anticipated. Signs that you have found the right person. How can you tell when you've found the one that's right for you? How to approach a lady, 4 easy tips for making her fall in love with you. It's interesting to note that there are just 4 things that need to be considered while picking a life partner. If you locate somebody who possesses all 4 of these qualities, you have a good chance of finding your life companion. The main body of the article poses the question, how do you know when you've met the right one? This is a question that almost everyone will ask at some time in their life. But regrettably, very few people will ever receive a satisfactory response to it. You, on the other hand, are one of the fortunate few if you are reading this post. It is interesting to note that the criterion for selecting a partner may be boiled down to only 4 primary features. If you locate somebody who possesses all 4 of these qualities. Ban Como Kohoi Tat De Tim Tien Yai Ban Dong Han Trong Kok Song Kua Min. 1. What are this person's fundamental principles and beliefs? 1. Marry someone who believes in something. A surprisingly helpful tip. Make sure the person you intend to marry is entirely dedicated to some objective moral and ethical norm before you get married to them. Whether we are aware of it or not, all of us have certain fundamental principles that form the basis of our personalities. And when it all comes down to it, that individual will consider that value to be the single most important thing in the entire universe. Volunteer work in the ER, a very risky way to spend your leisure time. One of Jerry's defining characteristics is his thirst for excitement, for instance. It just so happens that Jerry is volunteering at the local emergency room at the time that he begins dating Diana. He goes there every night to calm folks upset by holding their hands and talking to them. And Diana is certain that Jerry must have a very kind heart if this is how he chooses to spend his leisure time. It appears that Jerry does not have a heart of gold. But he is helping out for free since he has a passion for exciting new experiences. The emergency room is a lively place full of thrilling activities. So it just so happens that Jerry's daringness is currently manifesting itself in a reflective manner. But this might not always be the case. It's possible that Jerry may quit his voluntary work and start engaging in other activities that Diana will find unappealing, risky, or unethical. Jerry and Diana, if they get married, Jerry will be a great husband. However, if Jerry's guiding principle is a dedication to kindness and concern for others, then everything that he does, including his marriage, would revolve around that principle. And if they end up getting married, Diana will be one lucky lady indeed. Jerry, Diana, and their values, understanding self and others. So how exactly does one become acquainted with the devoted Jerry? Surprisingly, it's not even close to being that hard. You will see people making sacrifices every day for the things that are most important to them, regardless of what those values are. If Jerry's fundamental motivation in life is excitement, he may put himself in danger by racing across a busy intersection or come late to work because he tried to keep up with a police pursuit. If Diana watches him attentively, she will notice that adventure is higher on his list of priorities than other vital things, such as family and work. But if Jerry's most important value is kindness, Diana will see that he is willing to sacrifice certain things in order to be charitable. Even if the waiter gets his order wrong, he will still thank them and eat whatever they bring him. Either he will wait for the other gentleman to cross the junction first, or he will drive an elderly woman and her groceries back to her house, which will cause him to be late for work. Diana will observe him letting go of some of his urges to take care of other people if she watches him closely and does what he says. Therefore, you should search for someone who is deeply devoted to a more admirable code of ethics that you can respect.